Coming up on Let's Get to the Point.
So, Mitch, that doesn't look like the Rio. Where are you at now?
When you are coming to Taiwan, so when you arrive, they give you a QR code and you scan your QR code. Paulo stepped up to the machine, he played, and he won. We couldn't believe it. I still kind of think it's a scam, but it's not. And it had like $155 on it.
Free money.
Free money.
And later.
Earlier this year, I enrolled for a Marriott promotion where you got double elite nights. I saw that I was kind of close to hitting titanium, and I did the math to see if it would make sense for me to do a mattress run to earn titanium, and I decided to go for it.
What are your plans with your titanium status for next year?
Just to be better than platinum. To look down on platinum members.
Now, let's get to the points. She loves to pretend being a crazy rich Asian. It's Serena. Sometimes his journey is the destination. It's Miguel. She takes family budget travel to another level. It's Nicole. And he only lies flat over the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean. It's Mitch Shannon.
Hi there, and thank you for joining us on Let's Get to the Points video and audio podcast, where we bring you the very best in tips and tricks in the world of miles, points, and travel. I'm Mitch Shannon, joined by my co-hosts who love traveling the world with their families using their credit card points and miles. First up, she's the only person I know who has negative PTO time from all her travel. It's Serena.
Hi, everyone.
He's got his finger on the pulse of the best points and miles deal. It's our Miguel.
What's up?
And if you want a trip with her, the wait list, it's a year out. It's Nicole.
Hi guys, how are you?
Please help us out by clicking that subscribe button right now to our YouTube channel, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and wherever you watch or listen. Also, give us a like and leave us a comment below and let us know what you think about our show. Now it's time to do it. Let's get to the points. First up, we are inching our way to our big meetup in June, and here's the question. Are you going to be there? Have you RSVP'd? How's it looking, Serena? I know you're in charge of that.
We do have people who RSVP'd. So
okay, that's good.
I think that's awesome because it's on a weekday. I know some people have trouble showing up on a weekday, but I think you should just like call in sick or something.
Yeah.
Negative PTO. That's the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that should be on a shirt somewhere.
So remember, our meetup is in Chicago on Tuesday, June 25th. And we will have the RSVP link in the show notes for you if you want more details. We hope to see you there.
So, Mitch, that doesn't look like the Rio. Where are you at now?
Yeah, so I'm currently at the Marriott in Kaohsiung, Taiwan. We leave today to go back to Los Angeles. We're wrapping up our, I guess you could call it our spring break trip. We flew Starlux from Los Angeles to Taipei, and a big thank you to you and Serena. You guys, I mean, our flight was great. We really enjoyed it a lot. No boba, but it was a really great flight.
And how's that Marriott?
So we're here at the Kaohsiung Marriott, and I will say it's a great property. It seems pretty new, and here's the interesting thing about it. It's attached to a mall, but just directly on the other side of it, there is a Costco that is attached to it.
Ah, that's why you went to Costco.
Right.
Conveniently located.
I had to go check out this Costco because, you know, when in Rome or when in Taiwan, you want to go to Costco, right?
Of course.
A couple quick things about this. It's just like the America Costco, but they have a lot of like local brands and different brands. But a couple things I found fascinating about this is if there is one thing that could unite us around the world, I think it's all our love for Costco, because the Taiwanese people, they were eating up Costco just like we were. They have free samples inside. Miguel, you're gonna love this. They had free wine samples inside this Costco.
Yes.
So here at Costco Kaohsiung, we get to sample wine. This one is from Toscana. Chin Chin.
And never seen that before. Had their food court, had a couple of different items there. They had ice cream and a roast beef sandwich. But the most fascinating part for me, you can take your stuff and return it. They had the big return aisle there. So, you know, it's just like America. You return everything you don't want to Costco. So you can do the same here.
But did they have the famous Costco hot dog?
Yeah, and it came out to about $1.60 in US with the exchange. So you got these hot dog and you got the drink right there at the food court.
Save your stomach for the hot dog in the Starlux lounge, Mitch.
Right.
Don't waste it on a hot dog. from Costco.
Oh, right.
I don't know. Those Costco hot dogs are pretty good.
So what was the drink that came with it? It wasn't boba tea, was it?
No, it's just so they had the big fountain machines. So come to find out, like fountain soda is not that big here in Taiwan like it is in the US. So I guess it's a big thing there at Costco. You know, you can just go get your refill just like you do in America.
So I'll give you this interesting fact about Costco in Jamaica. We didn't have a proper Costco, so we had something like a Costco. Needless to say, they were sued and had to rebrand. But we had the hot dogs, we had the chicken bake, all of that. We just didn't have the license to be Costco.
It's a knockoff.
It's 100% knockoff.
Okay, Mitch, important question. At Costco in Taiwan, do they only take visas like here?
Oh, that's funny that you mentioned that because we actually had an issue there. Our credit card wouldn't work. So because here, remember the days of the American Express at Costco?
Yes.
That's all they take here. So we tried to use our American Express. It wouldn't work.
Interesting.
So we had to pay in cash.
Because you didn't have an American Express.
No, we did, but it wouldn't work. So we had our American Express card, but for some odd reason, the machine wouldn't read it and it wouldn't take it. We don't know if it was because a US one or what, but we ended up having to pay with cash because none of our credit cards work because they only take American Express, but I guess not US American Expresses.
Costco has such power in our world in the US because I actually determine which cards I'm going to give my parents to use because they go to Costco a lot. And I need to make sure they have a Visa, right? And when I tell them, oh, here's an Amex card, and they're like, oh, I can't use it at Costco. So Costco has such great power and they have no idea in the credit card world.
So Costco in Mexico does take American Express. So I've checked out Costco's in Mexico and paid with American Express.
Yeah, they must have some kind of power here too, because for them to not accept one credit card over another says a lot. That you could tell all of the US like, we like this, but we don't like that. It's kind of like, no, yeah. So Mitch, you're in Taiwan. And I remember a few episodes back, we talked about a spooky Hyatt. Did you get to stay at the spooky Hyatt?
So nothing spooky that we can report back to you on, Nicole, but we have spent, a couple days in Taipei. Paula has a really good friend here. And, it's been so great. She's taken us around, seeing everything through her eyes. A couple weeks ago, Serena, you and Miguel talked about the beauty of points and miles. And I agree 1000% with both of what you said about that. Being able to spend some time with her, having her guide us around, just an incredible time to be able to see this country, with such a local perspective of hers. Another thing, one of our viewers, he reached out to me on Instagram and he said, hey, are you going to Taipei? We're going to be there at the same time. Sure enough, our trips lined up and I was able to meet Justin and his family. And funny enough, they were staying there at the Grand Hyatt Taipei too at the same time. So it was great being able to talk with him about our show and our trip and meeting his family. It was just great, So I love how being able to have this show and meet the people that listen and watch our show and to talk about points and miles, that means a lot to me. So it was really nice to be able to do that.
That's the best part, I think.
It is. But most importantly, did you ask him if he experienced any supernatural activity?
No, we didn't talk about, the paranormal activity there at the Grand Hyatt.
That would have been my first question.
For real. Yeah. I feel better now. Like I was a little bit scared about putting this hotel on the list. But now that I know that the ghosts are selective, maybe I'll be one of the lucky ones.
How do you know they're not going to select you, Nicole?
I don't know. Maybe because I'm with the Let's Get to the Points crew. I'm just going to,
But one of us has had an experience there, right?
Miguel, do tell.
If you want to call it that, I heard about this hotel, right, being haunted or whatever, but I didn't tell my family because I didn't want them to not want to stay there. I needed Hyatt nights, so... but something a little weird did happen. My wife was in the shower. When she came out, the entire bathroom and hallway were flooded. I mean, she didn't notice, she couldn't see it, but when she came out, the entire thing was full of water. We called housekeeping. They came up and they were surprised at just how much water was out there. They came up with like 3 towels and I was like, you're going to need more than that. I showered right after her and the water didn't come out when I was there, but I mean, it was flooded all the way to the hallway to the door. So that was a little weird, I think.
That's good enough to me. Definitely ghosts at work.
I don't know, but the Hyatt Elite Nights might be worth the scare. When you're on the cusp of globalists, every point matters. Every night matters.
There's another Hyatt that's in a different location that people can go to if you don't like ghosts.
Yeah. Like excitement, the thrill of it,
Okay, please go, Nicole, and report back. I'm personally waiting for the Andaz and Park Hyatt to open. I will not stay at Grand Hyatt.
Okay. Fine.
But you go.
So, Mitch, I know Serena loves the Park Hyatt, but I like the Regencies and the Grand Hyatt because of the Club Lounge. How did the Club Lounge at Grand Hyatt Taipei measure up?
So let's talk about the lounge at the Grand Hyatt Taipei. So I will say overall, this hotel, I think it's a bit dated. They're probably going to need to do a remodel or something, a refresh. So Serena, you're right. The Andaz and the Park Hyatt coming is probably a good thing because it's going to kind of help the market there. The lounge, if I'm being serious, so one day the lounge opens at 7 a.m. and I wanted to get some, footage for our show to kind of go show the lounge off and everything. So I go up there right at 7 a.m. and I'm not kidding you. There's already like 40 people in this lounge.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was just packed with people all day long coming and going. And we didn't spend a lot of time in the lounge because first off, we had friends we wanted to see, but there was just so many people every time we went up there that were like, this feels overwhelming. We want to get out of here. So we didn't spend a lot of time there.
Okay, so question about the breakfast. Do you have an option to choose between the lounge or the restaurant for breakfast at Grand Hyatt?
Yeah, so in the lounge, it's very limited breakfast. And I took some video of it and I'll show you here. It's not a lot there. And with all the people there, it's so much better to go down to the restaurant because you get to choose one of the two. So we went down to the restaurant every day. So much better. So many options. They had everything. They had dim sum. I got a couple dumplings and shumai every morning, and that was great. They had a bunch of local dishes, Asian dishes. They had a congee station. They had an Indian station. They had made eggs to order fresh station. So definitely go downstairs to the restaurant. I would not waste my time going up to that lounge to have breakfast. So much better downstairs.
Mitch, important question. Did you eat those dumplings with a fork?
Oh my God.
What's with the hate with eating dumplings with a fork?
People notice.
Mitch is eating with a fork.
I'll be honest. I struggle using chopsticks. Okay. It's out there. I have a hard time. I've never been able to master it. Unless I got the little kids cheaters on them, I can't use chopsticks. So I got to use a fork.
So Mitch, you have showed us video of you trying to use chopsticks. And I will say, put you out of misery. Go ahead and use the fork. It's okay. Use it for sushi. Use it for dim sum. It's okay, Mitch.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, Serena, I can't use chopsticks, but I'm gonna try. I can't do it.
That's all right. I feel your pain, Mitch. I'm with the fork also. Or just get your hands in there. That's what I do.
So last night, it's funny. We found this restaurant here in Kaohsiung, and it's attached to the mall, and it's a hot pot restaurant. And what's interesting about it is, I don't know if you all remember Soup Plantation or Sweet Tomatoes there in the US.
I miss it.
Yeah, right? So
miss
this is
Sweet
kind of
Tomatoes.
what it's like. It's kind of like the Soup Plantation of hot pot here in Taiwan. So we go to it and it was so good we went twice. That's how good it was. And I asked for a fork and they're like, we don't have forks, but they had little dessert
Okay.
forks. So I was eating my food with a little dessert fork the entire time. So
You need to start traveling to Asia with a travel fork.
I know, right? I need to bring my own utensils with me when I go through Asia.
What other fun things did you do in Taipei?
So a couple things, don't get mad at me, but I wanted to go to where the original Din Tai Fung is. So if you're a big fan of the restaurant in Taipei, we went to the original one. Well, it's not the original one. The original one's only to go. The next new kind of original one's right down the street. And we went there and it was great. They had some dishes that aren't on the menu in America and they had some really good service there as well. They take care of you. So I wanted to go to that and we did that as well. The other thing that I want to talk about real quick is when you are coming to Taiwan, I don't know if a lot of people know this. This was new to me. I was, scrolling Instagram and this reel popped up and it talked about the Taiwan Lucky Land game of golden coins. And I kind of started watching it and I'm like, what is this? And it's this gal talking about how they're giving away free money. So I watch it and it tells me everything I need to know. So I go to this website and I'll put the link in the show notes. And basically you register 1 to 5 days before your arrival here in Taiwan. So when you arrive, they give you a QR code. And when you arrive, you scan your QR code. And if you win, you get an iCash card. Now, what's cool about this iCash card is it has 5,000 Taiwanese dollars on it, which is the equivalent of 155 US dollars. So
Yes.
Free money.
free money. So of course I lost, but Pulrit stepped up to the machine. He played and he won.
That's awesome.
Incredible. He won
Yeah.
this card and it had like $155 on it. And you can use this at like 7-Eleven. You can use it for the subway. There's a bunch of places like Starbucks and a bunch of tea restaurants. You can use it for gas. It's really cool. So we got $155 for free for playing this game and registering online.
I wish I had done that.
Now, what I want to know is, can I register my children? Because if I'm taking my kids, that's 4 chances to win.
And the good news is, Nicole, you do have 4 chances to win. So everyone that arrives, as long as you're not a citizen of Taiwan, you know, you've got an international passport, all 4 of you can play and you might win $155.
Okay, so I'm just being greedy here. What if you bring 2 international passports? Does that make it pay tax?
Nicole, try it.
Yeah, try it and report back.
I wish I would have known because I would have had 5 chances last month. And
I know. That'll be so good. You know, Mitch, I remember when you sent me the reel too, but I didn't do anything with it. I'll pay attention to your reels more often.
She put you on red, Mitch.
I know,
She
right?
left you on red.
Well, it's funny because I almost forgot too, because we arrived at like 5 a.m. and I'm like, oh, you know, and then we kind of walk out and I see it and I'm like, oh, let's do it. And Port's like, what is this? I don't want to do this. I'm like, let's just go. Let's just try and see what happens. And it literally took, 5 minutes. We couldn't believe it. I still kind of think it's a scam, but it's not. But,
Yeah. Oh, that's so awesome. I love free money.
Okay, Mitch, I have one more question for you. So I went out with Jackie once. We went to this food hall and we had Taiwanese fried chicken. Did you get a chance to try that?
No, we didn't try the fried chicken, but we've tried a lot of other things here, including boba, and a lot of boba we have tried. We went to Serena's boba shop, which is...
Chun Shui Tang.
Yeah, that's it.
That one. That's the one.
And it was great. I love their boba, Serena. It's kind of small and it's a little bit chewy. It was really
I like
good.
tiny boba. It's not tiny, but it's smaller than what you find here. I really like it. Frothy.
The land of boba here. So that was a lot of fun too. So, but the other thing that we did is they have, for you Starlux airline lovers out there, they have this specialty 7-Eleven store. They've got all this Starlux merchandise that you can buy, like bags and keychains and stuff. And the inside, they've got some of the food they sell on board. Speaking of fried chicken, Nicole, they had this there as well as one of the Starlux meals. And we tried that. And microwave fried chicken is not good. That's all I'm gonna say.
I was like, what? Why? It's like eating sushi with a fork.
I know, right? But it was a really cool 7-Eleven. We went in, and so that's what we spent a majority of our card on there. They had this Starlux music box. I wanted this really bad because it's really cool. And we bought it with the iCash card. So that was our big splurge with our card here.
Is it going in my bedroom in your house?
We're trying to figure out where we're going to display this in our house. Yes. Maybe the bedroom, maybe the living room. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
So Nyla is following you, Mitch. And she was like, Mom, did you see that Mitch is at a 7-Eleven / Starlux store? And I was like, what do you know about Starlux, Nyla? She goes, I'm watching Mitch's stories.
That means, Mom, you better book it.
Yeah.
I'm on it.
Okay, so Mitch, this is the tail end of your trip, right? And you're heading home tonight. Are you excited?
Yeah, we're really excited. Well, kind of. Maybe we could have went 2 or 3 more days here, but it's time to go home. A couple weeks ago on our show, you and Miguel had talked about you really can't pre-order your meal on Starlux if you'd booked through Alaska Airlines. So yeah, that part is right. So I wanted to report back about what we did because we were actually able to pre-order our meals on board. So their systems, they don't talk to each other yet, but like you had suggested, Serena, I contacted them. I logged on, I started the chat, and you know how that works. That chat takes like an hour and a half before you get someone that you can talk to. So I started talking with them and I said, hey, can I pre-order my meal? And they come back and they say, no. But then like maybe 10 seconds later, they say, hold on. And then they say, yes, you can, but you're still a little too early. We will email you tomorrow. I'm like, okay, yeah, right. I've heard this story before. They're going to email me and that's going to be the end of that because I'll never hear back from them. And sure enough, the next day they emailed me the menus for our 2 flights. And I was just shocked. So got the email, full menus for both legs. They said, make your selection, email us back what you want. I did that. Sure enough, we get on board. The crew is confirming our meals. Incredible. I was just blown away that works. So I'm going to say that a couple of their menu items, they're only exclusive to pre-ordering. So Porrit, he pre-ordered the lobster. He told me that when the flight attendant brought him his meal, she was like, oh, we don't see this a lot, but it looks really good. Let me know how it is.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I'll put that email address in the show notes below. So if you got an upcoming Starlux flight, maybe you'll want to try to email them to see if you can pre-order your meal if you booked your ticket through Alaska Mileage Plan.
And how many days in advance were they able to send you your menus?
So I want to say this was just around the 2-week mark before departure because they made me wait a couple of days and they're like, the menu's not ready yet. So I guess they kind of changed their menu. So maybe give it about 2 weeks before your departure or just email them and see what they say.
I think that tip is worth it if you're going to get lobster.
I want to know from Porrit if that lobster tasted better than the lobster thermidor on Singapore Airlines.
That's a good question. We'll have to ask him what he thought about it. He was a little upset because they used the fettuccine noodles. He goes, the noodles were a little thick, but he did say the lobster was really good.
That's how you know when you've made it, when you're comparing lobster dishes and it's like the pasta wasn't quite right.
Or Nicole saying, I don't like this caviar.
Yeah.
Not good.
Not good. No. The hummus is from Sambra.
Right. Right.
Mitch, I can't wait for your return flight so you can compare the two to see if you get better service coming out of Taiwan versus coming out of the US.
Our service coming in was great. The two flight attendants, Donna and Ashley, I really want, Starlux to know they did an incredible job. They anticipated all our needs. There was no with them. It was like, can we have this? Yes, absolutely. Whatever you want. They were so nice to us. So Donna and Ashley, great crew and great flight on Starlux. All your tips, Serena and Miguel, really helped to make it a successful flight. So if anyone's got one coming up, go watch that episode because it was really helpful to us.
Now, I saw you had a goodie bag, Mitch. Is that goodie bag from the 7-Eleven or is that from the flight?
Both. So Donna and Ashley, they packed us a little bag and they're like, oh, you were really good customers. We want to give you something for you to go. And it was all these little kid activity books and a little blow up airplane.
Oh, I love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, Miguel, did your kids get this?
Yeah, actually. I thought I had it up
I just responded on YouTube that no, Miguel's kids got nothing.
Oh, no.
They got the
Well, that's what the information you had at that time.
It was the information I had at the time.
they got the inflatable airplane on Starlux.
So, Mitch, what's your secret? What's your secret for getting goodie bags? I mean, you got one at Park Hyatt Kyoto. You got one from Starlux when, we don't get one. What's your secret?
Ooh, good question. I think the secret is you just gotta kind of put yourself in the shoes of those people that, are the customer service people that are serving you. And you got to think, how would I want to be treated if I was them? And that's always in my mind, right? So I'm always polite. I'm like, oh, how are you? Yes, please. Is that okay? And I just really kind of pump up my energy a little bit because imagine serving an entire cabin of people that are just kind of or, not nice.
Yeah.
And then you got a couple of passengers that are like really nice and being nice to you. You want to be nice to them because you feed off that energy. So I always try to really pump up my energy when it's, like cabin crew or customer service people at a hotel because it makes them feel good. I think that's the secret.
Gift cards might work too, right?
I was thinking snacks. Snacks works. Snacks and gift cards.
Snacks, gift cards, all the above. Cash, that works too.
Gosh.
So I'm kind of sad we're leaving Taiwan today. It's been a really good trip, but we're coming back on Starlux and I watched the video and Serena, Miguel, I'm ready for the lounge. I'm going to go get a hot dog and I'll report back on how the hot dog was. I saved some stomach space for the hot dog. So we're going to try that. But Nicole, how was your flight on South African Airways?
So our family is racking up those business class flights and I am liking this tradition of traveling in luxury. Serena, you have to help me get some more points so we can do this as many times as you guys do it. I was looking for a flight to come back from South Africa. I needed to find a flight that I could take on American Airlines. So thanks to flightconnections.com, I found a flight from Johannesburg to Sao Paulo, Brazil. And that was a 10-hour flight. So initially I found 2 seats in business class and 2 seats in economy. I booked it through United using Chase points. A few months later, 2 more seats opened up, so I was able to get all 4 of us in business class. The business class on South African Airways doesn't get much review. The seats are comfortable. It's in a 1-to-1 configuration, and we all had window seats. We took Mitch's advice, and no one was sitting in the honeymoon seat, so we all had our own windows. We paid 55,000 points for this flight, and I think it's a good deal because the flight is 10 hours. Before getting onto the flight, we checked out the lounge in Johannesburg, and I don't know why, this airport seems underpopulated. It just seems like a really big airport, but there wasn't a lot of people in the airport. But there were several lounges. In fact, we had access to 4 lounges, but the lounge lizard only had time to check out 2 lounges. So I spent most of the time in the South African Airways lounge. And there's 2 sections. There's one for first class and one for business class. And the lounge, I think, was open less than a year ago. The space is beautiful. It looks modern. The food, on the other hand, was just okay. The bar was fully stocked, but since we were on a morning flight, they were only serving wine at the time. So we didn't get to enjoy any of the nice South African cocktails. Now, the boarding process for South African Air was terrible. I mean, we were all gathered at the gate, waiting for them to probably call business class or families, people with kids. They let the floodgates open and it was first come, first serve. If your grandmother was there with her walker, she got knocked down. If your kids were there, they would have gotten trampled. It didn't matter what class of service you had. It was just whoever was able to squeeze through the crowd, they were the first ones on the plane. When you got to the bottom, they separated between business class and economy, but there was no rhyme or reason to it. Now, entering the plane, their seats are... I don't know how old the plane is, but it doesn't look super new, but it was very comfortable. It was a good seat for 10 hours. The only complaint I had with South African Air was the meal service. So they served us about 2 hours after takeoff, and then you didn't see a flight attendant for a few hours. There was no snack service. It was just the meal for dinner and the meal 2 hours before landing. About 6 hours into the flight, I was feeling kind of peckish, so I went to ask one of the flight attendant if there were snacks. She literally was like, I have some grapes if you want it. And it's like she took the grapes out of the bag she had for groceries, rinsed them off, and gave them to me in a paper towel.
That was her lunch, Nicole.
I'm sorry. I mean, Nyla asked for snacks and they brought her some pretzels, but it took them 20 minutes to find these pretzels. Probably another personal stash. But when they did serve us some food, it was good. The flight attendants were very pleasant. And I agree with Mitch. When you have conversations, just genuine conversations, find out how their day was, just ask them little simple things. It really enlightens the service experience. This lady was very nice to us. We were joking with her the entire flight. And I think it made her day as much as it made my day. So we got to Sao Paulo, and the Grand Hyatt and Sao Paulo is really nice. I think most of the Grand Hyatts do need a little bit of remodel, but the club lounge was really nice. So the Grand Lounge had ceviche and freshly made caipirinhas. Am I saying that correctly? Caipirinhas, yes. They had passion fruit, they had orange, they had lemon. We made sure the 2 nights we were there, we came back to the hotel just in time for the happy hour. And it was a bit crowded, but the space was big enough to fit everyone that was there. I don't think anyone was turned away because of lack of space. One thing about the Grand Hyatt, I think as globalists, we're only supposed to eat in the club lounge, but I like to ask for forgiveness and not permission. I had breakfast at the restaurant, and checkout, I had line items for breakfast. And I was like, sir, that's a line. Check the previous episode. Every time you get a mischarge or somebody with bad information, just point to the random gentleman over. I was like, the gentleman that checked us in told us we had access to the restaurant. And he was like, do you remember his name? I'm like, no, sir. It was late at night. I don't know. He was this tall, dark hair, just very general description. Yeah. So he's like, okay, I'll take the fee off. The gym at the Grand Hyatt, I know you guys don't love the gym, but I love the gym. And the gym was so good. They had 3 separate rooms. They had like a boxing room, they had a cardio room, and a strength training room. And there was no one in there. I guess no one likes to exercise on vacation. It must just be a
Just you.
Just you.
So one thing that was different about the Grand Hyatt is that they gave us a list of complimentary services that we had. And one of them was laundry. So for each room you had, you got 2 pieces of laundry for free. And I was like, I'm totally taking advantage of this. So I sent my jacket and my sweatpants, Nyla's jacket and her sweatpants, and they returned it pristinely pressed. And then I noticed that they came with this large leather box. And James was like, you need to check the box. The lady says there's something in there for you. When I opened this box, it was a pair of underwear. So apparently in the clothes somewhere, a pair of underwear was left in there. And so because now I have 5 pieces instead of 4, I got charged for the extra piece. Can you guess how much it costs to launder a pair of underwear?
I don't even want
Must be $20.
To tell you the truth, I think it's actually $20 because when I called and asked him to change it to the cheapest thing, he goes, actually the sweater is cheaper to wash than the underwear. So we're going to charge you the rate of the sweater. And that was $12. Just be mindful when you're sending your stuff down, you have exactly 4 pieces.
So, Nicole, you think maybe like one night you were just really sweaty and you took off your underwear, put it in your pocket?
I think so. Because it is hot there.
How did you get in there?
I don't know. Just one more thing on the list I messed up. A $12 pair of underwear. I mean, like for $12, I could literally buy an entire pack.
That's okay. You got free breakfast in the restaurant.
Yeah, you're right. It's a win-win. Yeah. The Grand Hyatt is in the business district, but our Uber driver recommended a tour guide and she was amazing, like a wealth of knowledge. She took us to the Japan Quarter. I think it's called Liberdade. She took us to the African Brazilian Museum and the largest park in Brazil. I'm going to butcher the name. So rather than embarrass myself, I'll just stick the name right here on the bottom with this video of the park. It is the 4th most visited park in the world, apparently. I didn't know that about Brazil. Normally we'd opt for the free walking tour, but this lady was charging $100 to spend the entire day with all 4 of us. So I thought that was a good deal. And it definitely worked out because the amount of things that she showed us, I could not have seen all of those things on the free walking tour. I'm going to put her information in the show notes in case you guys end up in Sao Paulo. I highly recommend her as a tour guide. She took us to this coffee shop that does a selfie latte. So you can send them a picture of yourself and they will put your picture on the foam on your coffee. And I think that was the coolest thing ever. And it was like $5. So I think it's totally worth it. But Nyla was very happy to take the straw and stab it in my face.
As teenagers do.
Serena, have they ever done that for you at a Park Hyatt? Put your picture on your coffee?
No.
This wasn't at the Hyatt. This was like at a coffee shop in...
No, I know. But I mean, I feel like she would have said something like, oh, they do that for me at the Park Hyatt all the time.
Of course, yes.
That's how I drink my coffee.
Exactly.
Well, you know,
exactly.
Fun fact, I don't drink coffee. So I wouldn't know because I never ask for coffee.
Well, don't worry. By the next episode, she's going to be like, well, I had the coffee and it had my face on it.
Yeah.
So Nicole, 55,000 miles for a 10-hour business class flight. That sounds like a really, really good deal. You know, you said the service maybe wasn't as good, but would you do it again? Would you spend the same amount of points for that flight?
Yes, I definitely would. I would just bring snacks. That's all.
Just like on American Airlines.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder if it's that I'm greedy, but I feel like I go on these flights and I'm like, I'm kind of hungry.
Yeah.
But
You were
yeah.
Long
hungry.
flights, I mean.
You were hungry on Delta to New Zealand, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was hungry on Delta, yeah. On the E word, I was never hungry. Qatar, I was never hungry either. So you just got to pick the right ones. I'm sure you guys weren't hungry on Starlux either, were you?
No, but just got a little shade for ordering too much.
She wanted you to be hungry. That's what it was. It's like, I already gave you a large pajamas. You don't need any more food. That was a long answer to your question, Miguel. Yes, I would do it again.
Thank you, Nicole. It sounds like a really good redemption for a 10-hour business class flight. And now it's time to move on to our weekly recap.
It's now time for our weekly recap where we share our tips and tricks with you from the stuff that we've recently booked. And Miguel, you're going to go first, and you got a mattress run coming up.
Yeah, so earlier this year, I enrolled for a Marriott promotion where you got double elite nights on cash days as well as an extra 1,000 points per night. So I ended up registering for that. And after a few organic stays that I had, I saw that I was kind of close to hitting titanium, and I did the math to see if it would make sense for me to do a mattress run to earn titanium. And I decided to go for it. So I booked the cheapest Marriotts I could find between the promotion period, and so I should get titanium. I don't know how much better that is to platinum, but after all the points that I would earn for the mattress run, as well as an additional 40,000 points free night certificate, I figured it was worth doing, so I just booked the mattress run here locally.
Okay, Miguel, what status are you going for with Marriott again?
Titanium. So I'm currently platinum, and I got that not only because I hold the Brilliant card, which gives you automatic platinum status, but because I've already reached the 50 nights for platinum anyway. And I reached the 50 nights through a combination of holding the cards and some stays that I've done. So by holding their business card, that gives me 15 nights. I had the Brilliant card that gives me 25 nights. So I'm at 40 already. And then the stays that I've done, I'm at 55. Now, after you cross 50 nights, you can choose different rewards, and I could choose to get 5 free elite nights. So that'll put me at 60, which means I'm only 15 nights short. So if I do 7 and they each count twice, that's 14. I'll just need 1 more night after that. So I just went for it because pretty much my mattress run is 7 nights.
Miguel, what are your plans with your titanium status for next year or later this year?
Just to be better than a platinum. To look down on platinum members. No, really, I guess because, platinum status is easier to get now because all you have to do is have the Brilliant card. So it's more competitive now to get upgrades. The other thing that titanium is good for is when you get titanium, you actually also get United Silver status, which is not a lot, but it gets you free bags. And, I can get rid of my United card now because if I do have United Silver status, I will need to hold a card for free bags with United.
That's the kind of deal I like. Buy one, get one for free. Do you get free breakfast with titanium status?
Yeah, so the benefits with Marriott actually for breakfast, and it depends. They have this whole chart you have to decipher of what type of property you're
I'm
at.
out. Once they have the chart, I'm out.
Exactly.
If the answer's not yes, she's done.
Yeah. So you're supposed to start at platinum for the free breakfast. But last year we stayed at the Ritz-Carlton in Tokyo, and that actually only got you free breakfast if you were titanium or above, because the Ritz-Carlton, if you read that chart, doesn't participate in the regular free breakfast program.
Sounds like a whole Venn diagram situation.
Exactly.
Wait, does this mean titaniums get free breakfast at all Ritz-Carltons or it varies?
No, I think it varies.
Gotta check the chart, Serena. You gotta check the chart.
They're changing some things around with what they used to call the Sweet Night Awards. I think they're, what are they called now? Sweet Nightly Upgrade Awards, or they changed that around. And now that's going to have more properties be eligible for you to use those at. But yeah, it's a little complicated to figure out what you really qualify for.
Keep it simple. Stay at Hyatt. One of the benefits of points and miles Mitch brought up earlier is being able to travel and see friends and family. This week, I'm going to see a lot of friends and family, but unfortunately for a sad situation, my grandmother passed away, and so we're heading to Jamaica. And so I finally, this sounds weird that I'm like bringing excitement, but I finally get to use my Southwest Companion Pass to book tickets to Jamaica because that was my initial lure. And so I booked tickets for myself and my son. I added him as my companion. And then I went to book the ticket for James. And then when I go to add Nyla as a companion, I notice I'm getting this error and it just keeps glitching and glitching. I log out, log back in just to see, and there is no seat available. So they only had 3 seats, and so we couldn't use his companion pass to book Nyla. So Mitch, I have a question for you. How do you think James and Nyla are getting to Jamaica?
Good question. Spirit?
It is Spirit. So I had to book them 2 tickets on Spirit, which wasn't bad to go to Jamaica. I think it was $106. And the taxes and fees are $49. So really my ticket is $50 something.
I'm still struggling with that sentence. It wasn't that bad booking on Spirit.
What do you mean? It's only a 2-hour flight.
Oh, 2 hours now. Oh, okay. Yeah. Not that bad.
I mean, I could have saved an additional $40 by going to the airport, but I don't think you'll hear me say this much, but it just wasn't worth the drive and the traffic if it was for 4 of us, then maybe, but I was just like, just pay for it. I'd never been in a situation where they ran out of space on a Southwest flight. I mean, like, who is going to Jamaica on Southwest, first of all? And when I booked the ticket, it was ridiculously expensive. It was 29,000 points. A few days later, they had a sale and it would drop down to 14,000 points. So I was able to call in and have them refund me the points difference. That is what I love about Southwest. I think many other airlines do this, but on Southwest, it's just so easy.
Nicole, I'm really glad you brought up Spirit because that brings up some breaking news.
Oh, dear.
So 2 episodes ago, Mitch challenged the world. Let me
whole
know, the whole world. Let me know if you want me to fly Spirit. It was unanimous in our comments. Everyone wants you to fly Spirit, Mitch.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you going to say?
One question. Haven't I suffered enough? What,
No.
Do you want to see
One
me in
one
pain?
answer, no.
Wow. I don't understand the fascination with me flying Spirit. I don't get it.
You asked the question. People just answered. That's it.
And you know what? We were talking about it in relation to flying from LA to Las Vegas, right? Which is only a half-hour flight. So it wouldn't be very long.
Yeah. Oh, I remember the whole conversation. I remember all of it very clearly. Yes. Sure. I'll give it a shot. Why not? I'll try it. I'm going to book a
And
flight.
it was no exit row, no big front seat. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
You can't reserve your seat ahead of time.
Yeah. Can we talk about all the stipulations for a minute?
Yes.
Jeez. No big comfy seat up front. No exit row. I got to take what they give me. Wow.
No paying for a seat assignment.
Yeah. No.
You
You
can
get what
pay
you get and you don't get upset. Okay?
You can pay for a carry-on if you need to. Or do what Nicole does and
Okay.
just carry it on your back or in your pockets.
Nicole, this is a whole side conversation I'm going to have with you about what the rules are, the slick tricks for Spirit.
It's half an hour, Mitch. You'll survive. I imagine Mitch walking on the jetway and the song is like, I will survive.
And I know what the thumbnail will look like for that show too. It's going to be you with that face.
Yeah. Thumbnail already done. I got you.
I'll do it for the show. I will do it for everyone's enjoyment.
You can use LGTTP funds for it too.
For the whole $50 worth.
I don't want to break the bank.
You can use company funds.
But you must buy your ticket at the airport.
You just go to buy it. And what do you know? You're going to be in LAX later today too.
Yeah. Oh, I guess I could just pick it up right there, huh?
Yeah.
You could.
Go
So it's
right
going
to
to be
the
a
counter.
$30 flight. You see the power of comments?
Oh, yeah.
We got seat to a suite on a Spirit flight.
SeaWorld,
I'll
ask,
document it all.
and we will deliver.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
So, Nicole, I'm so sorry to hear about your grandma, but I'm sure she lived such a long life.
She did. I tell people that she got her money's worth out of life. So this is a celebration of her life.
That's so great. When things like that happen, it just makes me think YOLO all the time. So later this year, I have a very exciting trip planned for me and my husband. Yes, it's our second kid-free trip this year because YOLO. Life is so short. Might as well enjoy it. Use all those points that we earn, right? And burn them, right? So we are going to go to Oman and the Seychelles later this year. I'm really excited about this trip because I have Qatar Q Suite booked from San Francisco to Doha to Muscat. That second leg from Doha to Muscat is categorized as a first class ticket. And so I'll get access to the Al Safwa Lounge, which Miguel has been to and he loves it. And then we're going to stay at an Alila in Oman. And then we're going to fly on Emirates and fly Dubai to the Seychelles. And I've never been there before. And I'm really excited about this one because there's a brand new resort that opened this year. It's the Waldorf Astoria Seychelles Platte Island. And I'm super excited about this trip because I'm excited for snorkeling, for the diving, being on a private island. It's going to be lots of fun. And so I talked about this trip at the LA meetup, but what I also admitted is I didn't have a way home yet. But now I finally do. So our friend at Find Flights for Me on Instagram, he was a guest on our show in a previous episode. He posted about this new route between Denver and Istanbul on Turkish Airlines. And so I saw his post and I thought, oh, this is my way back home. What I like to do is I kind of like to fly different products. There are many ways I could have flown back home. I could have flown Qatar again back home. I could have flown Emirates, but I wanted to try something different. So I thought this is a great opportunity. So I booked Doha to Istanbul Istanbul to Denver for 90,000 Air Canada Aeroplan miles and $114 per person in business class. And we all know that I have a lot of Aeroplan miles to burn after that Etihad debacle. There are other ways you could have used miles to book this flight too. There is Turkish miles, there's Avianca miles, you could have used ANA, but for me, it made more sense to use Air Canada miles. So what's exciting about this route is the aircraft on my flight is an A350 that was supposed to go to Aeroflot. Aeroflot is a Russian airline, and they had these A350s on order. And because of the war, there were sanctions put in place, and those planes were not delivered to Aeroflot. So instead, Turkish Airlines bought those planes, but they still have the Aeroflot cabin interiors, including this hard product that is different from the rest of the Turkish fleet. These business class seats are really nice because they have doors and they seem to be very spacious, and people equate them to Q Suite. It's important to note that aircraft swaps can happen. I might not get the Aeroflot seat, but I'll be fine with any lie flat seat and a Turkish chef on board. So I still see availability for this new route, and you can use Seats.aero to find dates that are still available. Just note that not all dates will have the Aeroflot configuration. If you want to check the seat configuration, a free way to do that is you can use Google Flights. If you put in the route and the date and you look at the details, if it says individual suite, then it's likely the Aeroflot seat will be on that plane. Suite usually indicates that it's a seat with a door. If it just says lie flat, then it's the regular Turkish business class seat without the door. So I'm also going to have to book Seychelles to Doha and also from Denver back home. But those are going to be easy to book. I'm probably going to fly economy in those. There's my road back home. I want to thank Find Flights for Me for posting about this award availability. So definitely give him a follow on Instagram if you want to be alerted of any award availability in the future.
He may have been the only guest we had, but he is the best guest we have ever had on our show. So yes, that was a great episode. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. Find Flights for Me. Give him a follow. But before we move on, it's time for Nicole's wins and losses. Nicole, what wins and losses do you have for us this week?
Yes, we're starting out the new quarter with bigger wins, bigger lessons. Let's start with Lisa Bonita. She booked a last minute trip to Denver. She had a 20% off coupon from Southwest Airlines. The real Gene PB. He is heading to Waldorf Astoria in Los Cabos tomorrow.
Nice, Gene.
Gonna love it.
Jess Chan flew to Cleveland for the solar eclipse for only 16,500 points round trip through BA. McJeffrey leveraged a recent 5,000 points promotion on AA to take his family to the Bahamas, and he watched our episode on Grand Hyatt Bahamar, and he and his family are enjoying it there now. All right, here is a lesson. New Woods forgot to cancel a Southwest flight. Pleaded my case and they restored my points. Wow, that's good to know.
Yay. That's a win.
Yeah, that is.
Chris Tildewan just booked 2 business class seats on JAL to see the cherry blossom season for next year. Jess P. Sullivan returned from Ziva Cancun and is now prepping for Costa Rica with her new ink card. Keep sending us your wins and lessons. We love to read them here on the podcast. We love to share in your wins and learn from your lessons.
Hi, my name is Edgar. I'm from Chicago. I've actually been following Miguel for a long time. I thought it was really cool how you would bring your Mexican flag everywhere you traveled. My wife and I, who are both Mexican as well, really enjoyed traveling, and over the last few years, we've been to about 26 countries. Usually we fly the cheapest, the most convenient, so we've never really played the points game. This last year, we welcomed our first child, and Benny is gonna be just over a year old in September when we plan to go to Europe for the first time as a family. What we're looking for is to get there in first class. So we'd be flying from ORD to either London or Paris. So we really don't know what to do, how to get there. I'm hoping you can help me do that. What we do have is 200,000 points in Chase Sapphire. The reserve card is our everyday card. We both have really excellent credit. So we'd be opening up new credit cards if that helps. So hoping you can get us a game plan on how to get there first class or business to make the trip as easy and comfortable as possible for our baby. Thank you.
Oh, I love this question. And I love that he is a big fan of you, Miguel. It just goes to show how when we all come together, we can inspire so many people to book their dream trips on points and miles. So Miguel, Edgar, looking at you, looking at all of us, needs some help for his family to get there. So what advice do you have for him?
Hey, Edgar, thanks for sending in your question. So the things that I would concentrate on are looking at the policies that different airlines have for their loyalty programs when you want to add a lap infant. So your child will be a lap infant until he's 2 years old. So for example, British Airways will charge you 10% of the points value on your flight for a child that you add as a lap infant. So say, for example, you book a flight that's 50,000 points in business class from Chicago to London. Now, the charge for your kid will be 5,000 points, which is only 10%. So I would look into British Airways as one example, and they do have flights between London and Chicago, so that might be a good option. I know that if you're returning from London, it's a mess to get out of there, not only the security and the big airport, but also charge a lot of high fees and taxes when you leave in a premium cabin from London. So I would try to avoid departing from London, maybe fly into London and out of either Paris or another European city back home. Another option would be Iberia. So Iberia charges 34,000 points off peak from Chicago to Madrid. So that might be a good option as well. I'm not sure what their policies on for adding a lap infant, but that's a good rate, I think, to get to Europe.
Hi, Edgar. Congratulations on welcoming Benny to the world. I think it's so great that you want to travel with your little family so early on. I wish I had done more of that when my kids were younger. One of the programs that I think you can look at is Air France KLM's Flying Blue program. From the US to Europe, award tickets can be as low as 50,000 miles one way in business class. And since you have 200,000 Chase points, that would be just enough for 2 adults round trip in business class. But the hard part is finding the award availability. I actually booked this for my family for our winter trip, and I'm going to show you how I looked for these 50K mileage awards. So you could look at Air France or KLM's website, but I prefer to use Seats.aero because it's just easier and less glitchy. So on Seats.aero, you can go to Explore, Air France, KLM Flying Blue, and you'll need the Pro version to access a full year of results. We have a promo code you can use for $20 off your first year, and that's Let's Get 20. Show flights from North America, filter your search for the month of September, sort by business class, and you'll see the 50K dates and routes. Right now, I don't see any award availability for flights from Chicago going to Europe in September, but you might want to position yourself to Canada to take one of these flights. Oftentimes in this hobby, what we have to do is try to find the long haul route that will get you in the general area of where you want to go. And the idea is to get yourself to the continent and hopefully get a cheap short flight to where you actually want to go. So Flying Blue also has an infant charge of 10% of the adult fare, including taxes and fees for a lap infant like Benny. And I know that positioning and layovers, I don't like them myself, but this is something that you would have to weigh whether you want to spend more time in comfort for part of your journey or if you'd rather take the quickest way there in economy.
Those are some great tips, Serena. Yeah, I agree with a lot of that. And the other thing that I want to say too, Edgar, is I completely agree with Miguel. You kind of want to try to avoid flying out of London if possible. Those taxes and fees are through the roof. Maybe find like a second city or somewhere else. It's going to drastically save you some money as well. The other part of that is BA. Don't forget, if you fly on British Airways, that they charge for seat selection in business class. So unless you've got status, that's something that you're going to want to factor into your cost as well. You know, everyone's gotten some great points that they've given you here, and those transfer bonuses, if you can find them, they can be really big as well. Something else I want you to think about for your future as you're building your family, you know, you can look at other cards down the road, other ways to get to Europe. The Alaska Airlines credit card, it might be right for you and maybe for your P2, and you know, how soon before your P3 can start getting those credit cards, you know, they grow up pretty fast. It's a good card to pick up for the destinations that you're looking to go to if Europe's where you want to go. Alaska, part of the One World Alliance, and obviously London, you know, the general region. It's a huge area like Miguel had talked about, Iberia, Aer Lingus, some great redemptions with the Alaska mileage plan. So think about that card for your future. Nicole?
Congratulations on the addition to your family. I will tell you one thing. Once you start to fly business class, it becomes a little addictive. So my advice to you is, how do you replenish those points after your first trip? 2 complimentary cards to your current Sapphire setup would be the Chase Ink business cards, and these are no annual fee cards. You have the Chase Ink Cash, which can give you up to 5% on office supply stores, or if you want to keep it simpler, you could do the Chase Ink Unlimited that gives you 1.5% on all purchases. These currently have a welcome offer of 75,000 points, which would be great for adding to the stash that you already have once you get that little taste of business and you want to do it all over again. So we will put links to those in the show notes below, and I can't wait to hear about your amazing trip to Europe and how you enjoy it with you and your family.
Those are some great suggestions. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Edgar, for sending in your video question. Please let us know how your search goes and what cards you got planned for your brand new P3. I think that's the most important thing right now.
Edgar, just be careful, because my 8-year-old just saw a picture of Q Suite this morning and she said, I want that.
Ooh.
Of course she did.
Of course. That's a good pro tip right there, Serene. It's so easy for you to be on our show. Simply drop us a line on any one of our social media channels or visit our website at letsgettothepoints.com and we'll answer your question right here. That's it for now. I want to thank all of our hosts. It's Serena.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Miguel.
Later.
And it's always good to see you too, Nicole.
See you guys next week.
And I'm Mitch Shannon. You can find out more about us at our website, letsgettothepoints.com, and we'll all see you here next Friday. Thanks for watching and listening.
Let's get to the points.com.